I think that when we're looking at the contactless check-in and check-out specifically now, it's a really key thing for hoteliers to be able to provide guests with the confidence that when they arrive at the property, first of all, they know they're not going to be in a queue with loads and loads of people. Secondly, that they can use technology that's already being used for other industries right now. But I think as well, when we think about the COVID scenario, guests are going to want to know beforehand what are the protocols going to be when they get to the hotel. They want to know that they've done the check-in and they just need to go and pick up their key and there's not going to be loads of people hanging around. From a perspective of reducing, I suppose, the traffic within reception, etc., this is going to be really key to increase the confidence of guests as the industry starts to open up again. We have to think about the fact that as the industry opens back up again, we don't know how long it's going to take for occupancy to come back. That means that teams are going to be streamlined. There's not going to be as many staff possibly checking in the guests. So anything that can be done with the technology to kind of aid that and make sure that the staff are there in order to help during the dealing with other queries other than check-in and check-out that can be automated, then obviously this is going to improve the guest experience as well. When we think about the contactless check-in and check-out, the other thing to bear in mind is a lot of systems now that also are providing the ability to connect to keyless systems, right, where you can actually open your door with your mobile phone, etc. So being able to put these systems together and make sure that a guest arrives, they know that they're checked in, they've passed their details, and they know which room they need to go to and be able to get into the room with their mobile phone. So I think that one is key. Then there's the guest messaging and chatbots. So again, bearing in mind that for guests that are wanting to go and travel, one of the key things that they're going to want to know beforehand is what's happening at the hotel. What are the protocols? Are the restaurants open? What's the current lockdown process within that particular region, if there is? And this can generate a lot of questions, and having the ability to be able to respond to a lot of those questions via a chatbot makes it obviously a lot more efficient. It reduces the noise at the reception, and it makes sure that you've got consistency within your responses as well. It reduces the queues, because if you think about all the times when you may have been in the hotel in the past and you've got a full queue of people that are there, maybe 50% of that queue might actually be to check in or check out, and the rest of the queue is to know, how do I get to the bus stop? How do I get to the train station? What time is breakfast? Where is it served? And what time does the pool open? Right? So this is all information that multiple guests ask over and over and over again. They're repeated questions that automation could basically deal with. And if automation is dealing with that, then that means that the team that are still at the hotel can then deal with the guests and provide those guests that really need service with good service, right? Then on the other side as well, with these chatbots, you've got the ability to be able to integrate them with booking engines. So, you've got a potential guest maybe that comes online, having done a little bit of research to look at your particular hotel. They're asking some questions to the chatbot about, can I bring pets? Is the restaurant open for breakfast, etc.? And then all of a sudden, they have the ability to ask, well, can I book a room to that particular chatbot? The chatbot provides them pictures of the rooms, the rates that are available, and the ability then to push them into the booking process. So obviously, the messaging and the chatbot gives the ability to really deal with those questions that are repetitive, create some sales leads via the booking engine integration, but more than anything, obviously, improve the guest experience at the property by making sure that the teams that are there are dealing with the guests that really needs a close service, and they're not just responding to repetitive questions. There's technology out there like facial recognition, like we use on a daily basis, most of us, with our smartphones these days. Maybe things like that can help with check-in and activating elevators and unlocking your rooms, etc. There's a lot out there, and I think when we those are the technologies that I think will kind of see people talking about and thinking about adopting over time. But some of the drawbacks, obviously, is I suppose, the level of comfort of guests using those. I think, now, post or during pandemic, I think, we've all had to adopt so much technology that people are going to be used to using these kind of tools. Most people, I think, are going to be in a scenario where it's just going to be the norm for them, and they're going to be willing to use them. But there will be certain things, maybe like the voice command or the facial recognition, where people might struggle to trust it, or they will want a clear privacy policy in order to make sure that they know what's happening with that particular data. And the other thing is that I think more than anything, when we're thinking about the various technologies that I've mentioned until now, we need to make sure as well that we're giving our guests the option, right? So we can't just push an automated check-in, check-out technology on them, or we can't just push a chatbot on them. There needs to be a way for them to say, no, I really want to be able to speak to a human, right? And they need to have the choice of being able to say, thanks, but I don't want the online check-in. I'll check in when I get to the property, and not force them down a route that they feel uncomfortable in dealing with. There was a study, I believe, by McKinsey that said on average some 70% of respondents plan to use digital services to the same degree or more after the COVID-19 crisis, right? So that's a really key number, over 70% that realize, well, these technologies that I've gotten used to that have made my life easier during a really, really difficult time is something that I just expect to be able to carry on. It's key to note that, our habits are changing as people, as humans, as individuals, and therefore the guest experience that we're offering the guests when they go to the hotels needs to change along with that. As we move forward, the technology options that have been provided now, I think the majority of them are still going to be expected as we move forward. I think, when people start traveling again, it's not going to be easy for us to just forget about COVID, right? As you start going out into hotels or into the workplace or wherever it might be, as individuals, we're still going to kind of cringe and turn around if we hear someone sneezing, or if somebody comes to embrace us with a hug, and, there'll be that kind of uncomfortable scenario of do you or don't you, right? And I think, there's still going to be the need to deal with these queries from a distance, right? Deal with these things on a daily basis from a distance. And it's going to take time for us to get back to probably where we were. If when the industry is ready to open up again, you're a hotel that's decided not to adopt a lot of these things, it's very likely that you're going to get negative feedback online in your reviews, in surveys, etc., because you've just gone back to a normal process, right? So I think we're all going to need to kind of look at those technologies and realize that they're here to stay, and understand how they can help us to improve the experience in general. The technology is there now, it's been implemented. It's a great opportunity for the social distancing, but it's also a great opportunity to kind of change people's habits so that they're used to going on their phone and speaking to the chatbot and saying, okay, how do I get breakfast, or can I order some room service? So yeah, in general, most of these technologies are here to stay. The aim of technology is to improve the guest experience. It's to make sure that when you go to a hotel, or when a guest comes to your hotel, that their experience is improved, and that the technology now that people are used to adopting can help us to succeed and actually push that forward, right? It makes operations more efficient, it creates scale, it's more flexible, people are given more choices, but it will also be obviously really key to provide better service when things do get back to normal. So when our teams are back to normal and we are at 80, 90, 100% occupancy again, that's the time when this technology should be implemented in a way to make sure that the efficiencies are there, that the guest experience is improved, and instead of at a reception desk, people looking down to do a check-in and look for a reservation, or a guest having to repeat their reservation details, that instead there's no barrier, that there's a guest relations person out in front, welcome the guests, speaking to them, but knowing that, you know, the check-in's already done, complete, and they can go to their room.